Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 30 is officially dropping in less than 2 weeks. It sounds crazy, but that's where we are. 30 chapters in and 110 chapters in the entire manga. But as it pertains to Chapter 30, we got a lot to talk about. So before we get started, be sure to drop that like and give the video a hype if you're trying to support the channel. We're less than 400 subs away from 13k, I think, which to me is a pretty cool accomplishment on its own. So yeah, be sure to show some love on the video so we can reach that milestone even faster. But other than that, enjoy the video. So here we go with the most pivotal chapter of the entire operation right here. Konoha is introduced with a near impossible situation. So this upcoming chapter, we're going to be focusing on these situations. You see, in the chapter prior, it ended with a clear problem with Kashin Koji. He looked extremely displeased with how things were going, even though at first glance, everything seemed to be going pretty good. Boruto and Kawaki are crushing every single Mamushi they come across, and by the looks of things, it seems even Team 10 with Himawari are holding their own. And at the current moment, they're trying to gather all of the clones up so they can be eliminated all at once. So it's still a work in progress, but by the way things are progressing, it won't be too long before they win. So why is Kashin Koji acting like this? Well, it's a very simple explanation. It's prescience. You see, Koji sees every timeline, every future. And in every future, there's good timelines they can branch off from, and bad ones. There's also timelines that seem good, but in all hindsight is probably not the best. So what looks like a good future, it's probably not so good. And for this case, that's exactly what we're presented with. And we can come to that conclusion because of what Koji told us before the operation even started. For example, when he was still explaining Mamushi's ability to everyone, he stated that it's best to keep Mamushi's numbers in the sweet spot, which is in between 20 to 30 clones. If they do this, they'll become way easier to handle, almost like fighting a wild animal. And it won't be too much to where it becomes hard to keep track of all of them. So we fast forward to the current time. Ino just stated that there is at least 50 Mamushis active. That's at bare minimum 20 more clones that Koji said to allow. So even if they are dumber and probably easier to handle, you simply can't keep track of all 50. Possibly even more, especially when all 50 are still spread out around Konoha. So there really lies the problem. Because not only are there too many Mamushis, everyone around Konoha is starting to take notice, even the sensory unit. So that means you're going to have more Konoha shinobi try and interfere with the operation, which is a major disadvantage to everyone a part of this mission. You see, if Konoha starts to become more aware of this problem, it becomes a bigger problem for Shikamaru, Kashin Koji, Boruto, and most importantly, Konoha itself. And the funniest part is that they're going to sabotage themselves. If Konoha becomes more aware of the enemy and sends Jonin out to handle the problem, it makes it harder to properly deal with the Mamushi clones because, I mean, it's obvious, right? They simply don't know how to deal with Mamushi. They don't know to destroy his eyes so he can't clone himself again. They don't know about his abilities, about the claw marks, anything of the sort. So it's like they're going to be in the way, which interferes heavily with the plan and makes the chances of them successfully eliminating Mamushi and saving Ada and Himawari less likely. So this timeline is actually bad for everyone because it increases the likelihood of the worst possible future happening. And to add another reason as to why this is bad, Shikamaru stated earlier on in the operation that part of the reason everyone was chosen to participate in this mission is because they didn't have any hostile feelings towards Boruto. And I think we can all agree. Boruto is one of the most important factors in this operation. I would argue he's the X factor. So without him, the chances of this operation succeeding drops exponentially. So before we move on, I want everyone to understand that without Boruto, there will be more and more casualties. So Konoha interfering now means more trouble because now it's damn near guaranteed that Boruto will not only have to fight off Mamushi, but also Konoha shinobi. Shikamaru stated that Konoha still sees Boruto as an enemy, basically on the same level of the shinju, because remember what that old elder said. They believe Boruto is in secret alignment with the shinju. So it's not crazy to say that's the general consensus surrounding that topic around the village. Meaning everyone around Konoha that doesn't know anything about the truth are probably going to believe Boruto and the Shinju are working together. I mean, that sounds crazy, but that's reality right now. So just based off that, now that Konoha is getting involved, that means the number of enemies that Boruto is gonna have to face just increased. So while Boruto is fighting Mamushi, he's gonna have to simultaneously fight off Jonin level shinobi. And I mean, Jonin level doesn't really mean anything when talking about Boruto, right? The bar pretty much drops significantly for what it takes to even be a Jonin nowadays in Konoha. Times of peace has made these shinobi weaker, because back then, when you thought about Jonin, you would think about guys like Kakashi, Guy, or even Asuma, right? Nowadays, when you think about a solid or peak level Jonin, you think about Konohamaru. That's the bar now. So Boruto is pretty much more powerful than anyone you could think of in Konoha. But that's not the point I'm trying to make here. Boruto isn't going to be killing these shinobi. In fact, he's gonna try his hardest to not injure them too much, because that's just not his goal. Nor is it their fault, because due to omnipotence, they genuinely believe Boruto is the enemy who killed the 7th Hokage. And he's shown us a few times that he doesn't want to harm innocent shinobi, even though he's fully capable of doing so. Like when he was hiding from Stone Ninja right before Kashin Koji found him. He could simply wipe out these random Stone Jonin, but because of his moral compass, and to prevent even more problems with the 5 great nations, he tries to avoid these confrontations as much as possible. And this situation will be another example of that. Boruto probably will try to avoid all-out warfare with the shinobi of Konoha if possible. So that means possibly retreating out of Konoha if necessary. So now, the job of everyone involved in the operation is to support Boruto any way they can to keep Konoha Jonin from interfering with the mission. You know, creating openings for him to escape sticky situations, informing him of nearby shinobi to keep them from interfering with his movements around Konoha. You know, stuff like that. Because while Boruto is in Konoha, he can keep his chakra signature hidden, which keeps the sensory unit from being able to track him while he's in the village. So there's ways they can help Boruto stay out of the way of other Konoha shinobi. And that starts with Inojin's new ability to sense nearby enemies and objects and relay that information to everyone. But what if I told you even that is being taken away from them? What if I told you the most important aspect of this operation is becoming a non-factor? Communication. Because of Konohamaru, Lord Kobu now wants to interrogate Shikamaru, who has another very important role in this mission. He has a way to see what Inojin sees because of Koji's toad, and he relays this information to everyone else. So that includes where each Mamushi is, how many, and who's nearest to that clone. So it's like he directs all the traffic. He tells everyone where to go and when. So without him, it makes things twice as hard and nearly impossible to navigate around properly. And Koji can't really get involved because he wants to stay hidden from everyone for his own safety. So there's another hole in this operation, a hole that can be easily plugged up, but nonetheless, it's still a problem. So now that we know everything going on in Konoha, I think we know what we can possibly see in chapter 30. So right off the bat, the way chapter 29 ended, I definitely believe chapter 30 is going to pick up right where we left off. It didn't end off any crazy cliffhanger or anything that Ikemoto didn't want us to know, because he told us everything that we needed to know by the end of this chapter. They seem to be winning the battle, but Kashin Koji is not happy about it. So something is wrong. So it's this reason I think chapter 30 could start off from Kashin Koji's point of view. And let me say this before I say anything else, this next chapter is going to be very action-packed. So don't think it's going to be relaxed because a lot of political things are going on in Konoha. The fighting is going to be there, as well as the political issues. But when we tune into this chapter, I think Koji and Inojin will start to have a conversation about the operation and why things may not be going as good as it seems. During this dialogue, he's gonna tell Inojin exactly what I mentioned to you guys. Not only is there too many clones around Konoha, but Shikamaru's job is in jeopardy. And if he loses his job, it just further complicates things for not only this operation, but moving forward in general, because then Koji loses that connection with Konoha. He doesn't have a way to relay important information to everyone all at once. Time-sensitive information that could mean the end of the planet, if not relayed to everyone at a certain moment to a specific person. Like, if it wasn't for Shikamaru, how was Boruto supposed to know that Jura has his eyes set on Himawari? And so fast like how he did? Ino wouldn't even have helped him because he doesn't have the authority. It's just certain things he can do from just being Hokage. It's just a certain level of clout and aura that you have. You could just make people like Ino do things for you like that. He even mentioned how he's allowed to do things just because he's the Hokage. And that includes telling everyone about Mamushi's abilities in time for the operation. And there's many more examples, but I'm not gonna sit here and name all the times Boruto and Koji benefited from Shikamaru being the Hokage. So in this chapter, I believe we're gonna see Koji try and get in contact with Shikamaru so he can tell him about his inevitable confrontation with Lord Kobu. Because this upcoming interrogation will be the last one, and it's make or break time for Shikamaru. His job and the future of Konoha is at stake, so he's gonna do everything in his power to keep Shikamaru in office. And that includes devising a plan to help him out this situation. So while Shikamaru is being interrogated, perhaps Konohamaru can fill that gap that Shikamaru is going to leave because he's about to go get interrogated. I mean, we know Konohamaru isn't being interrogated anymore, so he's the perfect one to take Shikamaru's place. I'm just saying. So that's maybe something we could see in chapter 30 as well. But other than that, there's also wide belief that Koji could even be more worried about the number of Mamushis in the village, because now that there is over 50 of them, it creates even more opportunity for them to find and capture Ada. And that's exactly what Koji is trying to avoid, because it's obvious Mamushi is only interested in finding Ada. He doesn't care about anything else. And we see that just based off how easily he's being destroyed by Boruto, Kawaki, and the rest. The more clones they destroy, the more he creates. So if they fail to eliminate Mamushi in a specific time, it's possible he could find Ada. And once he does, he's gonna lock all his strength in on 1 or 2 clones. And that's when we'll see his true strength. So he's hiding his true power for when he finds Ada. And once he finds Ada, I fear nobody will be able to really stop him. There's a very high chance of that being the reality. So that's also what Koji could be oh so worried about. So moving forward from that, in addition to Koji's worries and of course Shikamaru's interrogation, there's also going to be numerous of combat around Konoha. We have more combat from Boruto, Kawaki, and especially Team 10 because they were in the middle of fighting when the chapter ended. But other than that, I want to bring something that a lot of people may have forgotten about, something that happened a couple chapters ago. And that's Sumire fusing Boruto's sword with a certain material. A material in which she didn't tell us. So obviously, Ikemoto didn't want us to know of this material until a later time. And of course, I'm not saying that that time is next chapter. I just want to bring attention to that scene because it's very obvious Boruto is about to fight once again in this upcoming chapter. Shikamaru just told him to link up with Team 10, so of course he's going to be using his sword again. Could this material be in relation to something that is coming up for Boruto? Does it have to do something with his Otsutsuki power? Does it amp up his God chakra? Or does it have to do something with Himawari's 9 Tails power? As a matter of fact, he's about to battle alongside Himawari once he rendezvous with Team 10. I actually meant to mention this earlier in the video, my apologies. But in this chapter, we could see for the very first time, Himawari and Boruto fighting alongside each other. Remember, the main reason why Himawari even wanted to become a shinobi was so she can help Boruto. She understands his situation more than anyone. She's still affected by omnipotence, but Himawari is gentle at nature, and she's actually smarter than what most people give her credit. She's been around Kawaki, who she now believes is Boruto, ever since he came into the village. She understands how much he loves and adores Naruto, even going as far as to risk his own life for theirs. So off that fact, she knows her father is alive, and there's way more to the situation than what meets the eye. So no matter how her comrades feel about Boruto now, she'll be willing and pretty excited to work with Boruto and fight by his side. And I can't wait until Boruto actually meets up with Team 10 so we can see that. Because I believe there's around a 70% chance of that actually happening. And that could further reassure Himawari stays alive and changes the future where Koji's seen her dying by the hand of Mamushi. Because more than likely, in the original timeline where Himawari died, Boruto probably wasn't present. He could have already been killed by Jura by this time. So who knows? I mean, he's already escaped being killed by him a couple times now. So it's not that hard to believe. But other than that, I believe this upcoming chapter is going to be mostly action, yet again, with a very interesting advancement in the interrogation between Shikamaru and Lord Kobu. I hope y'all are excited for this because if Shikamaru loses his job, that could mean the end of the planet as we know it. And of course, past this, we can hopefully get to see Boruto link up with Team 10 and show off his power alongside Himawari. And of course, if we're lucky, Ikemoto will reveal what special material resides in Boruto's sword. So this, along with Konoha joining in the operation and, you know, taking Shikamaru's place, and Boruto fighting off some Konoha Jonin, I can say we have a very interesting chapter ahead of us. And as for the chapter cover, I really don't like talking about this because I swear I'm almost always off. Besides last chapter, because I think we can all agree it was always going to be Boruto, for obvious reasons. But this month, I think I'm gonna stick with my gut. Maybe we finally get that Mamushi cover that we all been anticipating. But if not Mamushi, then maybe it could be a Shikamaru cover, because he also has the chance to play a big part in this next chapter with how this interrogation is about to go. But anyway, I'd honestly love to hear what you guys think about this upcoming chapter. What do you guys think could happen? Do you agree with the points I brought up? Or do you think I missed some points that should be mentioned? Let me know all your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. And also let me know who you think will be on the cover of chapter 30. I want to know what everyone is thinking right now. And of course, the hot takes video will be out this upcoming week because we're about to get the first spoiler this Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. It's time to get going. We're officially active for chapter 30. But anyway, that's gonna be it for me today. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you know whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And until my next one, I'll see you boys and girls later. And I'm out. Peace.